welcome to Sights and Sounds, everybody. This is Cosmo. We're flying with a new plane tonight, so forgive us for the technical problems, but we're on track now. It sounds good and feels good. Sights and Sounds is your arts and entertainment program here at WASN every Thursday at 6 o'clock. Always a pleasure, everybody, to have you with us, and of course, we are honored and privileged to have Dick Thompson with us tonight. Hi, Dick.
Hi, Tom. Great to be with you.
Thanks for coming out.
It's a real pleasure. I haven't been in this building for a long time.
Well, I was going to say we're going to talk about all that because I have some wonderful questions I want to ask you about being in this building and all. And we always talk about the hallowed halls of WHOT, the original WHOT building.
There are spirits in this building, I know.
Yeah, plenty of them, I'm sure. Before we get started with DT, I wanted to throw out a trivia question for our callers tonight, and note that I am confident that we're going to have some callers. See, I'm encouraging you already. But first, I want to thank our sponsors for the show. All Credit Mortgage. Harry Krause, my friend over at All Credit Mortgage, is one of our sponsors. And thanks again, Harry, for being with us tonight. Avalon Gardens, Al Salado over in Avalon Gardens. And there's no reason to go anywhere else but Avalon Gardens. They've got it all there. Great music. They've got great food, great atmosphere, wonderful bocce in the summertime. I know it's a little early for bocce, but it's coming up. It's around the corner, so, we're going to have some fun over there at Avalon. Daybreak Music, my good friends Dale Schmidt and his brother Gary Schmidt. Thanks for coming on board this week with us, guys. They've been great friends through the years, and they will take care of you with friendly, professional service at Daybreak Music. And, of course, Papa John's Pizza, who's going to provide the prize winners tonight with a 14-inch pizza if you answer the question. Now, here's question number one. We'll ask you number two later, but first of all, let me ask you this. Now, I want to see who our trivia buffs out there are. What well-known actor played the role of Jack Crabbe in the 1971 epic Western film Little Big Man? I'll repeat it one more time. What well-known actor played the role of Jack Crabbe, which was the lead role in the movie, of course, in 1971 film Little Big Man? So our numbers are 746-1145 local and 1-877-754-1333 if you're calling from Shinola somewhere. But let's see, what other bits of business do we need to take care of to get out of the way here? I think that's it. Let's get to DT. And Dick Thompson is with us. Radio legend Dick Thompson is here tonight, everybody. And I know that we're anticipating. We have a call already, so let's see if we have a trivia winner, Jeff. Hello, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How about Dustin Hoffman?
You got it. You know what? We'll have to take your name off the air here. And because we certainly don't want to give your address and all that stuff, and we'll mail you or if you want to pick it up at the station.
Mailing will be fine.
Okay. So you want to hold on, and we will get your name and address and whatever else we need from you for a 14-inch Papa John's pizza. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
You want to grab his info there, Jeff? All righty. We're back, and...
I thought maybe it was Buster Crabbe. I didn't know.
Well, Buster Crabbe could have been it. Who knows? He was... Hey, maybe Jack was his middle name. Who knows? Anyway, how does it feel to be in this building right now, DT?
Oh, I tell you, it's like a mystery that's unfolded in front of my very eyes. Haven't been in this building for some time since I worked here with Johnny and Boots and all the rest of those guys.
What year was that when you left?
When I left here?
Yeah.
Let's see, 18... No, let's see, it was 19.
It was in this century, wasn't it?
Yes, came here in 58.
Come on now.
Yes. Yeah.
You joke about your age all the time.
Well, quite a bit. No, you were here a long time before we moved. Just a wonderful memory place to be. I could remember all the people that used to come through this place, the record people, the record distributors, the artists, and all that kind of stuff. It was fun.
Yeah, those were wonderful times, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely.
That was, to me, the golden age of radio.
I think it was. I think the 50s and 60s and 70s were probably just some of the finest periods of anybody's broadcast life.
Well, have we lost some signal there? We lost something. I don't know. Well, anyway, we'll continue.
Gotcha.
Now you're not originally from this area, are you, DT?
No, not really. Originally from not too far away, Oil City, Pennsylvania,
Oh, okay.
my
No,
hometown.
that's not far.
Yeah, where I got my start in the broadcast business with Johnny Kay, as a matter of fact. We both started in Oil City, PA.
What year was that?
1948.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
That
yeah.
was virtually a century ago, yes.
Yes, and why Youngstown? How did that happen?
Well, actually, Youngstown came about after a period of time. I got out of the service in 48 and went to work for my hometown radio station. We called it Crazy, WKRZ, because it was crazy. We had to meet the bus every 2 weeks to find out whether or not we had a paycheck.
Now, that was here? Crazy was here?
That was in Oil City, PA.
Oh, okay, that was Oil City, okay.
So then I decided, well, we better do some college work at Grove City. So I did that. Then I was recalled in the service during the Korean War, 1950, and that took care of a couple of years. Came back to Oil City and at the end of 1952, and I said, what am I doing here? So I decided, I think I'll go to San Diego. I knew somebody out there and didn't have a job, but I went out there and went to work for an aircraft factory and part-time for a radio station. That was in
What station was that? Do you remember the call letters?
KSON. KSON Radio, yeah.
Great.
It was one of the early top 40 stations, as a matter of fact, and I became PD of it within the first year. And got in touch with a guy by the name of Gordon McClendon, who was starting out some top 40 radio stations, and I said, what does that mean? And he said, well, what we do is we go and find out at the bars and all the places where jukeboxes are used, and then we take a tab of all the songs that are most popularly played, and then we go to the record stores and talk to people from Variety Magazine or Billboard and put together a list of maybe 40 songs and play them over and over and over.
You know, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
How did Top 40 ever get... That never dawned on me. How did they come up with that number anyway?
Well, anyhow, he said, well, 40 is enough. He said, if you play 45 or 50, you have too many songs. You want to make sure these songs repeat a lot. This way you accrue a larger audience all the time, and they're going to stay with you forever and ever, and they'll love you to death.
That's great.
Yeah. It was cool.
Now, those days, San Diego was like a sleepy little Navy town, right?
Yeah, it was a great town where people went to retire, and where Navy people, of course, went to retire,
Yeah.
and also where lots of Navy people were stationed. So you'd walk down, the main drags, and you'd see all the white hats and the suits and the whole thing. Were you in the service?
No,
You
never,
were in the service?
No, never had the
Not even
privilege.
for any other country or anything.
Well, no, I was in the French Foreign Legion at one time, but
I thought so. Somebody told me that. But anyhow, no, it was interesting because we talked to Gordon McClendon, and at the time our radio station, KSON, was programming music that was meant for classical lovers. And we had great sponsors, the banks and all that sort of thing.
So
We
you
were
played classical music.
We played classical music, yes.
Well, that's beautiful music, though.
It was, yeah.
But no one cared.
Well,
Right.
supposedly they did. And the fellow who owned the station was a retired Navy captain. And he was a good guy, tough guy, good broadcaster. Anyhow, he sent me over to talk to Gordon McClendon, which I did in Texas at Dallas, and then came back and I said, hey, we got a great idea. We're going to play 40 records over and over. He said, what, to our classic listeners out there? And I said, well, what do you think? Let's put this together. We could get a lot of sponsors and make a lot of money because nobody on the West Coast is doing it except one station in L.A. So we did that.
And he was that, being a military conservative type of guy,
yeah,
he was that easy to convince?
He wanted to have me court-martialed. But at any rate, he said, we're going to lose all our sponsors. And I said, well, we'll get a lot more. And we did. We lost all our sponsors. And the gentleman who was the program director of the radio station threatened to throw himself from the 7th floor of the building and kill himself on the highway.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
Now,
But
that
anyhow,
had to
we
have
did.
been in the height of when rock and roll, I should say, was coming on strong.
Yeah, this was actually the end of 1953. And
Oh, it was that early in the
54.
50s.
So
Okay.
it was top 40, but of course at that
So
time...
rock and roll hadn't really
No.
grabbed on yet.
No, we're talking about music like We're Gonna Rock Around the Clock.
Yeah.
That was a biggie by Bill Haley. We had Mitch Miller doing The Yellow Rose of Texas. We had Love is a Many Splendored Thing with the
Jeff
4/8.
has all
It
those
was
songs.
nice and pleasant is what it was, yeah.
Jeff is a collector of old songs, and being a young guy in his 20s and all that, it's amazing, the songs that this guy knows. I
Yes.
bet you he knows almost as many as you do.
Well, probably a good many more. I'm not going to ask him any questions, and I hope he doesn't ask me any.
Speaking of which,
I'm ready.
DT, what can you give me, like right off the top of your head, 5 of your favorite, let's call them top 40 songs since that's what we're talking about. All down through the years, can you give me like, just, 5 that you...
Well, I would say probably one of my favorite songs was Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley.
Okay.
Because I remember at the time when we plugged this in early '54, that I thought, wow, here is a song that's got some up-tempo.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not dealing with all the Mitch Miller stuff and the Patti Page and all the rest of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I got involved with the good songs of Grand Funk Railroad and all the rest of those, and I loved the music of...
they were great.
Yeah. And I like songs by the big bands, even. I mean,
Yeah.
Glenn Miller is one of my favorites, so I go
And you
back
guys are
to
still
that.
playing those
Still
those
playing
songs.
some 40s music,
Yeah.
yeah. But I liked Elvis Presley. I thought, this is one of the greatest guys in the world for putting together music. And I like some of Bobby Vinton's music, even though we threw him out of this very same studio some years ago.
Threw him out?
Yes.
He did a show here once, didn't he? Back in the 60s at Warren Harding Stadium?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we had him for one of our Hot Day events at Idora Park, too.
Well, tell us about this throwing out incident.
Well, anyhow, it was in the early stages of Bobby Vinton's, I guess you might say, blooming career. Well, it hadn't bloomed yet. It was still a bud.
Yeah.
But he would come up with one of his fellow record guys, or even before he had a record distributor from Pittsburgh, where he and his dad had a band. And the Polish Prince came by, and he brought a couple of songs, and he asked Johnny Kay and I would we listen to them, and we said, well, we don't have time because Johnny's on the air right now finishing up his show, and I said, I'll be going on next. So he said, well, I'll just come on the radio with you guys, and we'll listen to these songs together. And I said, well, I don't think we can quite do that because I don't know if the songs are going to fit our format. And he was very incensed about that. He said, these are hit songs, dummy. You have to play these. So we said, no, we really don't have time. Can you come back again some other time, or do you want to wait till we get off the air? He said, no, I insist on seeing you right now. So anyhow, we said, well, we're going to have to usher you out of the building then if you won't leave peacefully.
He was being a prima donna, in other words.
Yeah, really a good guy.
But it was kind of common, and it probably still is.
And I can remember, of course, he came up the following week, and we did listen to his songs, and the first one wasn't anything, but I think Blue Velvet came right after that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow,
it was a nice song.
True story. Yeah, we were visiting out in the mountains, and we went to see him perform in person out there last year, 2 years ago. And where all the stars perform, Andy Williams is there, and all the rest of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So
What
Bobby and
mountains?
his whole family were out there performing, and so we went to see him in person, and it was just a great show. And after the show, we got to see Bobby Vinton in person. And he said, I haven't seen you guys. He said, for many,
he
many
remembered
years.
you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And I said, do you remember the incident? He said, I know what you're going to tell me about. When you threw my you-know-what out of the radio station.
Yeah. And I've grown up since
Yes.
then. And hey, we got a call. DT, want to take a call?
Oh, I'm ready.
We got a caller. Caller, you're on. Go ahead with DT.
Oh, good evening, Cosmo, and good evening,
Good evening.
legend of the Mahoning Valley Broadcasting.
Well, thank you.
We grew up listening to Johnny Kay in the morning, getting us off to school, and sometimes we used to sneak the little transistor radios or go outside at lunchtime, and we'd catch your show, and then Boots, of course, would come on at later in the afternoon.
Yes, indeedy doody, Daddy.
until remember when the station only powered up until, 6 o'clock?
Oh, yeah, I remember when we were
When you went off the air at 6?
We were a daytime radio station at first at 1570 on the dial.
Right.
And, we went off the air. In other words, sunrise to sunset, and that was it.
That was it.
And I can remember whenever the sun went down and we were going off the air, we'd play this Porky Pig.
That's right,
That's all, folks.
Yeah, I remember that, too.
We did that.
That's great.
And that was before we got full-time and went to 1330, the station you're listening to right now, back in late 62.
Right.
And you remember those billboards we had at that time?
Oh, I remember
At
we
the
used to
time the
get
twist was popular, and we said, twist your dial to 1330. Remember that?
I remember we used to go downtown at Record Rendezvous, and you would have the top 40 or the top whatever it was.
The Fabulous 52 Index.
Yeah, that's what it was. And
Archie
you guys'
Krause's
pictures
Record
would be on
Rendezvous.
there,
Yes.
and everything like that. And I remember the time you came to our high school, and you guys used to play the teachers in basketball and stuff.
In basketball, yes.
Oh, man, and you had Matt Bozick, that was one of your ringers. He was a great player.
Yes, he was.
And you guys would come in. You really showed how our teachers were out of shape and stuff.
Lord knows we needed some ringers, though, and that's why we had guys like Matt Bozick, yeah.
Oh, it was a great time. I think, guys who lived in the valley, kids who grew up in the late 50s and early, all through the 60s, knew that there was only the one spot to turn to on the radio dial to hear good music was your station. And of course, everybody could remember the great record hops at the Elms Ballroom when it cost 50 cents to get in, and you see Boots Bell and Feedback Jack up there on the stage.
That's
and
right.
You have live bands would come in, and the kids would dance a little bit to the live bands, but most of the times they would dance when we put it on the current hits over and over again.
We had lots of fun doing those shows. And local bands, of course, and on occasion, if we had any extra bucks, we might increase the rate to about 75 cents to go. But, hey, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a great time. I'm glad I grew up during that period of time. And who can ever forget the WHOT days out at Idora Park, and the rides, and there would be lines forever and ever.
We'd get 12, 14, 16,000 people to those hot days at Idora Park.
Well, we got to take a short break. Thanks, caller, for calling, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.
Thank you much.
With more DT on Sights and Sounds.
More towers than any other radio station in the Mahoning Valley. 1330 WASN.
This old heart of mine, it longs for better times, and it serves my girl day. All those great songs my heart still plays. Every Saturday afternoon, we'd be playing all our favorite tunes. I miss those good old days.
Okay, we're back with Sights and Sounds with Cosmo. I'm Cosmo, Tommy Chris, and with us tonight is our very special guest, Dick Thompson. And hey, let's give another pizza away. I think at this point, I have
win
another
one?
trivia.
I can't win one of those, can I?
Well, if you answer this question, you can.
Oh.
You want to answer this one?
Well, no, we'll let it.
No, I'm going to give you a pizza anyway, just for showing up.
Oh, my gosh, that's great.
All right, what famous songwriter composed the 1966 Dusty Springfield hit, What the World Needs Now Is Love? Now, that's an easy one. What the world needs now
Is love.
is love, sweet love. Remember,
Jackie
that's a big-
DeShannon. Yeah.
Yes, that was the I'm sorry, Jackie DeShannon.
Okay.
But who wrote the song?
How many seconds do I have? Jackie DeShannon?
She recorded it.
Yes, I know. I don't know who wrote it.
Well, let's see if a caller knows.
Okay. I should know that. I don't. Caller, do you know
What
the
the
answer?
world needs now is love, the 1966 Jackie DeShannon hit.
Love,
Call us at
sweet love.
746-1145 if you know the answer, or 1-877-754-1333. And we have a call already. Go ahead, caller.
Was that Burt Bacharach?
Sure was.
Hooray!
Good answer. You win a 14-inch Papa John's pizza with one topping of your choice, and we'll get your name and address and or whatever you want to give us. Or if you want to come to the station and pick it up, it's your choice. And Jeff will take care of you off the air here. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Okay, let's get back to the business at hand
Should have
here.
remembered that was Burt Bacharach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what a songwriter, huh?
Oh, so many great songs.
Oh, yeah. He just had a whole litany of... Well, anyway, I
As
wanted...
A.C. McCullough used to say, a veritable bouillabaisse. There's another guy I hired.
Yeah, and fired at one point or another, right?
No, never fired.
Hey, you know who
A.C.
told me you fired him a couple of times was Nick Roman.
Oh,
he used
Nick
to do
Roman.
a morning show here, and he said,
Yeah.
DT fired me a couple of
Well,
times.
yeah, Nicky was the kind of guy you fired a lot.
Yeah, well, and he did say that if he would have been you, he would have fired him, too.
But an extremely talented guy. He really
Yes,
was,
yes,
and
he is.
just a wonderful person.
He's a great friend.
But I can remember when he worked the night shift for us here on 1330,
Mm-hmm.
and I can remember stopping in and wondering how in God's name does this man ever manage to do such a great show on the air? Because the studio was just blossoming with everything. I mean, there were people, there were things on the floor,
Yeah,
there were
I
things
know.
everywhere, and Nicky would be reaching back. Let's see, got a great song I want to have for you here if I can find it. And
Yeah.
but he was a great jock and a good guy. We love him.
Yeah, we still do.
Sure.
And Nikki, if you're out there listening to us, no, we're on our website. Broadcast is not operating, Jeff. Is that right? It's not. So Nick can't hear us in Houston, unless he's got a heck of a shortwave going on down there.
Well, he might.
He just might. 'Cause
He's the
they got
kind of
us
guy
in
that-
Italy. Did we tell you that? They picked us up
Really?
in Italy. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, radio station. Jeff has the documentation to prove it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Does that-
amazing.
Does
isn't it?
that show up in the ratings?
Well, yeah. Actually, it's a 1 on the ARBs in Italy.
Oh, okay.
It's a 0001, I think.
That's good
something
news.
like that. Anyway, I have so many things I want to ask you, and our time is going by so fast already.
That's what
DT.
Johnny Kay said when he was on your show. He
Yeah,
said, my
just-
gosh, the first thing I know, the hour's gone.
Yeah, it just flies right on by. by. I wanted to ask you about working in Youngstown. Now, when I was growing up, I used to go to places with my parents, and even New York City. And according to the charts that we had back in those days at WHOT, it seemed like we here in Youngstown, and WHOT in particular, was always slightly ahead of the rest of at least the areas that I traveled to. And surprisingly enough, New York City. I would go to New York City as a child with my parents and hear songs on the radio, top 40 songs on the radio, that had faded off the HOT charts a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And can you account for that and why that happened? Or
I would say probably, Tommy, that one of the major reasons for that was this was an area, the Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Youngstown, Chicago area, that really broke hits, particularly Cleveland, Chicago, and that area. And we did too. I mean, we helped to break them, get them started. And we did that. We weren't out to try to do that necessarily, but we'd come across an artist and say, wow, this is a good song we ought to play. Maybe a new Bobby Vinton song. Wow, good stuff. So we'd put it in long before some of the conservative stations in a larger market like in New York would play it. And they'd say, well, we're going to wait to make sure this thing has sold 300,000 copies before we add it.
Well, yeah.
And so they would add it late, then they'd be playing them longer. But we, in this part of the country, broke a lot of music, a lot of hits, and a lot of artists.
You know, I think that's part of the reason why they chose Cleveland for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. It fits 100%.
Because there's a station up there, WMMS, was a powerful rock station back in the 70s.
The Buzzard.
Yes, the Thundering Buzzard.
Oh, one of the greatest.
And they broke a lot of artists that other stations in the United States refused to play.
Absolutely.
Bruce Springsteen for one.
Sure.
David Bowie another. Both those artists were their songs broke at WMMS in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And now how
As a matter of fact, I remember when Frankie Valli came in one time with the Four Seasons, to do a show. We had them at Idora Park. As a matter of fact, in 1962 or something like that, when they had Big Girls Don't Cry or something,
Right.
and things like that, and Sherry, named for my wife. But anyhow, we played those songs, and they became big hits in the, I mean, they actually sold at the Record Rendezvous and places like that, and much requested, and the Billboard charts started to recognize them, and so we did break some songs and some artists. We did.
Well, you know, I used to go to a lot of those shows back in those days and see some of these bands perform live, and quite frankly, a lot of them were crap. But
Sure.
the Four Seasons were, I mean, they were unbelievable.
Weren't they good?
They sounded exactly like the record live.
Absolutely.
And they were
for real.
fantastic.
Yeah, we had a lot of people appear at Idora Park. Let's see, we had Chubby Checker, I do the twist.
Yeah.
We had Sonny and Cher there.
Oh, my.
When they were like nobodies.
Before Cher sold out.
Yeah, right. And, we had, of course, Bobby Vinton. He came by. We had Jan and Dean. And we had the Righteous Brothers. And we had, let me see, we had Frankie Avalon was there. And
Do you know how the Righteous
Eagles,
Brothers got their name, I heard?
The Righteous Brothers?
They were performing at the Mardi Gras back in the early 60s.
Down there in Nolans.
Yeah, in Nolans. And they were, getting down with their soul music and all that stuff.
Sure.
And the guy jumped up and he said, "That's Mighty Righteous, brother!" And I don't know if
Supposedly.
that's true or not.
Yes, they were doing 60s hootenanny music on TV, too.
Yes, they were.
Yes, they were.
We have a call. Let's take a call. We have a couple calls. In fact, caller, you're on the air with DT. Go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir.
Hey, is it true what I heard on Louis Freeh's show today that you fired Regis Philbin? It is?
Well, it wasn't exactly that. Regis and I went to work at KSON in San Diego. I'd been there maybe a year when Regis graduated from Notre Dame and came out west looking for a job, any job, because he had no broadcast experience before that. So he came to work for our radio station. I didn't hire him. The owner of the station, retired captain from the Navy, he hired him because we were looking for a part-time newsman. And Regis said, "Hey, it's a job. I don't have any job. That's great." So he was good, and he sounded very enthusiastic on the air. I think he was a bit bored by doing the news. He wanted to do something else. So I recall one morning when I was coming to the radio station, I'm listening to Regis doing the news, and he came on with the story, "There is a report that Dwight D. Eisenhower, our president, is dead." And he said, "We'll have more information. Stay tuned. The president, it is reported, is dead." So anyhow, I came to the radio station. I thought, oh, my God, the president's dead. What's this going to mean? So I got to the station, and of course, the phones are going crazy over there, and people are calling in like mad saying, "Oh, is it true that Eisenhower is dead? Ike, he can't be dead." So I asked Regis, what's the story? And he said, well, the news was pretty dull today, DT, so I thought I'd just throw that in for laughs. And I said, you realize how many people out there, including Mamie, might have had heart attacks? But anyhow, it was just one of those things. But we were very good friends in those early days, and my wife, Sherry, and his wife, and Regis and I had a lot of fun together. And then, of course, he went on to the beginning of big stuff.
And that was way before things like that were commonplace in radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thanks for calling.
Got another call. Go ahead. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Dick, it was really nice hearing you, and really you guys meant a lot to this area and to everybody growing up in the 50s and 60s. What I wanted to ask you, are any of your shows, like you or Kay's or like on tape of any kind, like in some kind of a place where you could put an old show on, or nobody bothered to record back then?
Oh, well, I know I don't have any shows, which is very good for the public. I'm sure that I don't. Johnny Kaye might possibly have some. I'll have to check with him. I know we did have some recordings of Boots Bell and George Berry and things like that.
Right, that's what I was thinking, something of, where maybe a whole show, where it was a show for a couple-hour show, the whole music, the announcing and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, that would bring some good memories back, throw on a show for an hour or so.
I will ask my friend Jerry Starr, with whom I worked at HOT, about that. He is currently working at Hot 101. And I'll ask him about that, because Jerry collected everything.
That might be a good idea.
Well, you guys are welcome to come on my show and do that. All of you and Johnny and whoever else you can round up, come on and
good idea. I go along with that one.
All right.
Second that nomination.
Yeah, I appreciate your call so much.
Yes, sir. Have a nice night.
And you too.
We have another call. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Dick, do you remember Jolly Roger?
Oh, I sure do remember Jolly Roger.
He and I worked just last year together trying to get LPFM off the ground.
Oh, yeah, right.
And you actually hired me, my first, real radio job. This is Rick Myers.
Oh, hi, Rick. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm just doing fine. How are you doing? I mean, really superbly well.
That's great. Cosmo?
Yes.
Great show.
Thank you.
DT, it is so great to hear you on 1330 again.
Right?
I wish I would have remembered to stop by.
Oh, well, I am too. I wish you had. Oh,
and
yeah.
I mean, you got me started. I was working at KST. I was Jeff.
Yeah.
Actually. And it's great to see that you're still around. It's great to hear your voice.
Johnny and I just celebrated 108 years in radio broadcasting.
Yeah, together. Isn't that unreal?
People call up and say, is that for each one of you?
And, I mean, it was the golden age.
It was.
Guys,
it was wonderful. I mean, it was so great.
Tempo matching jingles and just all the great stuff.
I was thinking when we did one of our hot days at Idora Park things, we gave away a Cadillac. It wasn't a new one, it was a used one, but it was a nice used Cadillac. So anyway, we had 1330 painted on it a number of times. And whoever, guessed the correct number of 1330s on that car won it. And there were actually 1,331 1330s painted on that car.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I remember as a kid meeting Joe Walsh at a hot day.
Oh, yeah.
Years and years and years ago.
Yeah, Walsh
and
was
I cut my chops watching Nick Roman in that room. So I know what you talk about.
Well, listen, we've all held our breath when Nick Roman's in this room.
But a lovely man.
Well, I just wanted to say hello, and Cosmo, you're doing a great show.
Well, thank you. Thanks for
Dick,
calling, Rick.
I hope you and Johnny come on once a month.
Well, thank you much. That's great.
Take care.
He's definitely coming back. Thanks for calling, Rick. We have another call.
Thanks, Rick.
We'll take one more call here real quick. Caller, you on the air with Cosmo and DT. Go ahead.
Hi, Tom.
Hi there. How are you, Jeannie?
Hi, Dick.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, how are you, fellas?
We're doing wonderfully well.
Great.
This is a lot of wonderful memorabilia for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a music lover. Just about every kind there is except rap. Rap is not really music, but a beat. And my husband studied violin for 13 years under the Ficacelli brothers.
Oh.
And my husband attended Dana School of Music when he was 12 years old. But the one brother, and I can't remember his name, it was not Carmen, but the other brother.
Might have been Henry.
No.
Does that sound familiar?
But anyways, he came to our front door one day selling sweepers, and I said, my goodness, what are you doing here? And times must have been really bad. So I invited him in, and he told me that my husband was his favorite student. And my hubby practiced 5 hours a day, 7 days a week for 13 years.
Wow.
From the time he was 5 years old till he was 18.
Marvelous.
And he can't play anymore. He has arthritis in his fingers. It's an inherent factor from his mom. But he does lift weights, and he skis.
Oh, that's
so
great.
that helps.
It's got to.
I beg your pardon?
It's got to help a lot, I'm sure.
Oh, he's quite a unique guy. But you know what woofers and tweeters are?
Oh, yes.
Well,
I had neighbors by that name, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you do?
The woofers on one side, the tweeters on the other. They're often merry.
In stereo.
Well, my husband wired our home in the basement and 2 of the other rooms. So we sit down and we have a cup of coffee and just listen. It's all the old-time songs. And do you two think if there were more music in people's lives and a lot of love, there wouldn't be so many problems in the world?
Oh, amen to that.
Music and love are number one together. They really are.
Well, we listen to the music. Well, my husband doesn't per se, but I listen to the music on the radio on Saturdays, and I'm one of these Bobby Soxers.
Okay.
Well, Jeannie, we have to go on a break. Before we go, give us 2 bars of whatever song you want to sing, because this woman has a beautiful voice.
Oh, yes,
So
please,
sing us a
Jeannie.
couple of bars there, Jeannie, and we're going to take a break.
Of what?
Anything you want.
They asked me how I knew smoke gets in your eyes.
Yeah, something like that.
Love, sweet love, if there was just more love. I can't think of the...
Well, that's
what a beautiful voice you have, Jeannie.
Oh,
she
come
does.
on.
No, really, I'm sincere. That's great.
Jeannie, thanks for the call, hon. Call again, okay? We're going to take a short pause. We'll be back in a few. Stick around.
More towers than any other radio station in the Mahoning Valley. 1330 WASN.
Last night, we held each other tight. It was a preview of what love could be like. Last night was a ride in a limousine. It was fine French cuisine, Caribbean cruise for 2.
Okay, we're back with Sights and Sounds. I'm Cosmo, also known as Tommy Chris, and I have some more questions for DT. And please feel free to call if we can get you in. We don't have too much time, but our numbers are 746-1145 and 1-877-754-1333 here at WASN. The Good Guys. Where did that come from?
I stole it.
Oh, you did?
I stole it, yes. When I was in San Diego, I heard them using it in Los Angeles on KFI at that time.
Okay.
So I thought, well, hey, they're the Good Guys. You know, and I thought, well, they don't own that line. So when I came to HOT back in 1958, and we, I was telling Bill Fleckenstein, the owner, I said, I got a great name for the guys here. He said, what? I said, how about the Good Guys? And he said, they are good guys. And I said, why don't we call them that, the Good Guys?
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
And so you went for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys were very close? Or just professionally close? Or did you all become very good friends and stuff like that?
You mean the jocks?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we were, I mean, honestly, a family. The interesting thing about the guys, they were all different, and that was what was great. I mean, this wasn't, a bunch of guys that were all the same. And even though we'd have some differences about things and so on, the end result was they were all people that really cared about what they did, and they participated in so many things, not only on the air, but off the air. I mean, our people were involved with everything.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know you guys were very involved in the community. Now, the original...
Their wives would call and say, any chance of seeing my husband in the next week or so, you know?
Now, the original 4 were you and Johnny, George Barry.
The original guys on HOT, of course, were people like Dick Biondi.
No, but I mean the good guys.
Oh, yeah, the good guys, yeah.
The good guys were you and Johnny, George Barry.
And Boots Bell.
And Boots.
Yeah.
Now, when you got here, Dick Biondi was working here, correct?
Dick Biondi had left. Dick Biondi left, I think maybe about 6 months or 8 months before I arrived.
Okay.
He went to Buffalo.
So now, who was all here when you got here?
George Barry and me. Bob Connors was here. Bob Connors, who later went on, as a matter of fact, he's still broadcasting down in Columbus. I mean, this guy could run for mayor. or governor, I think, because he's done a talk show very successfully for years, Bob Connors, down
that's
there.
great.
But Bob Connors was here, and George Barry, and me, and that was about it. We were a daytime radio station. Didn't need anybody else.
Right.
And then, of course, when we got the full time, we had to have a whole staff.
Now,
But-
you got Johnny here, didn't you?
Yeah.
Didn't you pull Johnny from somewhere else? He was working in another station
Yes,
somewhere?
I did.
And you gave him the name Johnny K.
Yes. As a matter of fact,
Because
he was,
his name was also Richard, correct?
Yeah. He was
Still
working
is.
at a radio station in Butler, PA, and I came here to work for HOT, and we were looking for a guy to work a morning show.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to get a resume from Johnny K. You know, he didn't know I was working at HOT, I guess. So anyhow, he sent this resume.
What name was on the resume?
The name was not Johnny K. Richard Q10.
Okay.
Yeah, family name. Johnny, of course, a native of this area.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, I talked to him on the phone. I said, "Hey, buddy," I said, "we're auditioning for a morning show. Would you like to come over and talk to us?" And he said, "Yeah, who is it?" I said, "This is DT." And he said, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" I said, "Work at HOT." "That's right. Somebody told me you were there."
So you knew each other?
Yeah. Well, we'd worked together in my hometown, Oil City.
Okay, right.
1,000 years
correct.
ago.
I do remember that part
Yeah.
of the story, yeah.
So anyway, he came over and he came to work for us.
Well, let's take a
But
call,
anyhow,
DT.
just one quick note.
Okay.
Before he came over, I decided we were going to call him Johnny K. instead of Mr. Q or whatever.
Now, that worked well.
Yeah, except when
I
he and
can't-
his wife were coming over in the car from Butler, he heard this, "Well, Johnny K's going to be our morning man." He said, "Who
Yes.
the devil's Johnny K?" And it was he.
He told me that part of the
Go
story.
ahead.
Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Cosmo.
Hey, how are you?
You're doing a great job, man.
Thank you.
DT, what's going on?
Well, I don't know. Nothing but the rent.
This is Ron Leader.
Oh, my
Hey,
gosh.
it's Dr. Rock.
I haven't talked to you in
I
100
knew
years.
that voice from somewhere.
You're the leader of the bunch.
Man, it's good to hear you back on the air again. I hear you're going back on again.
Yeah, we just never seem to get this retirement thing right.
Well, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm so glad. God, I really missed you guys, and I'm bumping along in my truck, man. There's nothing to listen to.
Oh, great.
And you guys going to be back on. I have to say, the high point of my entire broadcast career was when I did that 1 week of Nikki's Vacation. I worked for you.
I remember that. I remember that.
I feel like I was in broadcast heaven at the time. I had so much fun.
Yeah. Well, you did a good job, I remember. Yes.
Thank you.
You became a star for a week.
Well, you know, the thing of it was, I noticed in that time that I was there, and I think that's why, you know, you ran such a great ship, was everybody there enjoyed and loved what was going on. You created a great atmosphere.
It's true. I mean, the whole place was infectious with good times, and what are we going to do next, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, because I found myself, even when I got off the air at midnight, I didn't want to leave. I wanted to hang out for a while. You know?
We had people do that all the time.
I don't doubt that a bit.
Yes, that's what I said. The wives would call up and say, "Can my husband come home sometime, please?" Hey, Ron, so good talking to you.
Oh, hey, one quick question.
Ask.
Maybe you can correct it for me. Didn't Barney Pip work there too?
Yes, Barney Pip. Yes.
How long has it been since you've heard that?
Oh,
name?
wow, a long time. Yeah, Barney Pip. As a matter of fact, we hired him out of Indianapolis. And
Right.
yeah, and he came to work for us, and he said he wanted to imitate the guy Barney Pip wanted to imitate, of course, one of the guys who was on the air earlier. Yes. And we said, "No, we want you, Barney Pip. We don't want you to imitate anybody else because we loved what you did in Indianapolis." That's what he did.
Wow.
So he came to work, yeah, and just a good guy. We lost him in an auto accident.
That's what I thought. He passed away.
Yeah, real sad note.
Terrific. That's such a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dick, good talking to you again. Can't wait to hear you back on the air.
Thanks, Ron.
Ronnie,
Keep
thanks
up the
for
good work,
calling.
Cosmo.
I got to call you. I want you to come on the show. DT,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you a couple questions before, because we're winding down here, and the time is just flying. And you have to, by the way, you've got to come back.
Maybe we can stay till midnight or something.
Well, that's
you know?
fine with me. But
Nothing going on.
We'll ask Matt out here if we can go on the Psychobabble show, which is coming up next, by the way.
Oh, that's right.
Have you ever thought about talk radio?
About talk radio?
Yeah. Did you ever think about career in?
I don't know. I don't think I do very well at that.
You seem like a natural to
Yeah.
me. I don't know.
Well, I love to talk, but my wife says, sometimes you don't really talk, you blabber. So
Well, yeah, but that's your wife, though. I mean,
wives have a right to say
that's
that.
right. That's expected.
Well, I don't know.
Have you ever had an offer or anything to do a talk show?
Yeah, a couple of times. I enjoy talking about the music. I guess probably a lot of people would say that about Johnny and I. They say, "You guys really sound like you enjoy the music you're playing." And I said,
Exactly
"We
right.
do." And you talk about it like you really care. I said, "Yeah, we fondle them like babies."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys take me back and put me right in the. I remember one time you were doing a show real early over at NIO when I had just first started working there, and you played a cut off of a Glenn Miller album that was live, actually, in 1946
Okay.
at the Starlight Ballroom in New York City.
Right.
And
right.
what a great cut that was, and it just, I got the chills right now thinking about it because it was so wonderful. And I don't know, I wish I could recall the words that you used when you introduced this, but it was just so moving. And
Here's a Glenn Miller song on 33, I bet you'll love it. No, it wasn't like, no, really, we did have this feeling about the music, and we cared. We really did, and still do.
All right, one more question, and we'll take a call. We have a caller on there,
Hey,
Jeff?
Dick Thompson.
Go ahead, Dick. Go
Hi.
ahead, Joe.
Dick,
Hi,
what's up?
what's up with you?
It's been so long since I talked to you. It's like back in the 60s, partner.
Well, who's this calling?
If you don't know who this is, you fired.
Oh, my gosh, I don't want to be fired again.
Joe T.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, Joe, I haven't talked to you in 100 years.
Many moons.
Yeah,
I had to come out there and get all the rhythm and blues and
I remember.
kick it.
Yeah, I
I'm
remember.
talking to you. When you want to start back?
Well, we're starting back a week from Monday on 600 on the dial.
Ain't no problem, man. I give you a buzz every once in a while and keep me in. I would have taped this, but I just got back in the house.
I see.
I'm having a problem with my knees again.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That means you're going to have to give up football.
Well, I gave up football. I gave up chasing women too. So might have been one of the problems.
'Cause you can't catch them anymore.
And I'll get back in contact with you.
Hey, Joe, please do.
But it's nice talking to you too. And
Good.
tell your helper there, I call him your buddy there. Tell him your help. He done a good job too.
I sure will, Joe.
Okay, nice talking to you.
Wonderful
Thanks, Joe.
talking to you.
Now, your new show on WSOM
Yeah.
in Salem starts the beginning of February?
Yes, first Monday in February, the 5th.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, I am too. It's
Listening to you guys back on the air.
people say, don't you guys kind of run out of gas? And I said, well, not yet. I
Well,
said,
now you and Johnny work in tandem quite a bit. I mean, if
Yeah.
you make a move, he seems to make the move too.
that's it. We're like Siamese twins. Yeah,
Can't get rid of him.
That's right. We're attached to the thigh. We definitely are. No, that's something we kind of made up our mind to do some years ago. That we said, hey, if we leave, let's leave together, or if we go someplace else, let's go together. Yeah, and that's what we mean.
Strength in
As long as the
numbers.
good Lord lets us hang around,
Well, that's right.
and as long as people want to listen to us.
Now, obviously, you've been happy with Youngstown all these years. Do you speak of?
Youngstown is my hometown.
Yes, it
I
is.
have lived in Youngstown more than any other place in the U.S. of A. And I love the people here. I love the things we do. I love the associations we have off the air with events that go on. I would not want to live anywhere else. People say, why don't you go to Florida and retire? I said, why? My friends are here.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't want to leave here.
Well, now are you guys going to be doing the shows that you used to do at NIO with Terry Blaine and are you going to get back to that?
Sure,
or-
we'll be plugging those songs in too. You can be sure of that. Artists like that, and we'll be taking listeners on trips and that sort of thing. That's the thing that they kept calling us. When are we going to take a trip, DT? We want to go to the Caribbean, or we want to
Yeah.
go or something. So
yeah, you guys kind of missed. Well, you got time.
Yeah.
You could do a trip real quick at the other station.
yeah, we'll probably go to Lake Erie or something. You know.
Oh, well, go on a fishing trip. Let's go ice fishing. Cruise on Lake Erie.
No, I'll wait till summertime to go ice fishing.
Well, DT, continued success with your new show. We'll be listening.
Thank you.
And we really wish it would have been here at ASN, but we didn't luck out that time. Maybe we'll get you next time.
Well, next time around, and if I can be back on your show sometime, I'd like to, and I know
you
Johnny
have to.
K would too.
Oh, please do.
And,
Because we need to cover a lot more things than we did
We
tonight.
do, yes.
'Cause
Well,
you saw how fast the hour flew by.
Johnny K told me to expect that. He said
Yeah.
the hour will go zip, 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 and be gone before you know it. Well, Tom, it's great working with you, and of course you and I had a nice association in broadcasting over at NIO.
Yes,
and,
we did. Mhm.
And you do a great job on this show.
Well, thank you.
You do
Thank very
indeed.
much. And I'm having a blast. I'm having more fun than the law should allow, I think.
Well, as long as the law doesn't catch up with you, you're going to do fine. Thanks,
Don't
Tom.
tell anybody, DT.
And thanks, Jeff, for your help.
Jeff, I want to thank you again for being producer-engineer tonight. Jeff Mears, catch Mears in the morning at 6 every day with Heather. And Louie and Bunny, I want to thank you for all the plugs you gave us this week on your show. My dear friend Don Hanai, Talk of the Town at 3 o'clock every day on WASN. I want to thank Don for all the help that he's given me. He's been very supportive. Everybody, keep listening. 6 o'clock every week here on WASN, 6 p.m. every Thursday. Next week we will have John Timmons from TNT, Trumbull New Theater, over there in Niles. And Are we supposed to give a legal ID here? Oh, okay. Well, we're going to ask DT to do that since he's an old pro at it. Want to give us a legal ID before we go here, DT?
Youngstown, Ohio, huh? 1330 WASN.
There it is. Vintage style DT.
Whoa.
See you next time, everybody. Thanks for listening. This is Sights and Sounds with Cosmo.